How's everyone today? Gives me great pleasure. Our guest speaker, the executive director of the Cayuga County Tourism Office, going to tell us what's going on and how things are going to change for this year. Please join me in welcoming Karen Kuhl.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, I guess, everyone. And thank you, Ed, for the invitation. I remember I came and presented to you guys 2 years ago in 2019, and I was fresh on the boat in this position. It was very exciting to speak with all of you and get a very nice perspective of how tourism was viewed from your point of view. So I'm hoping to get some nice feedback today as well. I'm a very visual person, and tourism is a very visual industry. So I put together a presentation to kind of guide the thoughts and show you some of the views of Cayuga County. But before I kick it off, I did want to mention that I am open to interruptions at any time, direction, questions, comments. I really am interested in seeing your side of things. Tourism took a very hard hit this 2020. So there might be a lot of questions and interest. So don't worry about jumping in at any point. So this is me, Karen Kuhl, Executive Director from the Cayuga County Tourism and Visitors Bureau. I wanted to start off with pictures. Like I said, tourism is a very visual thing, and this is what a lot of time is dedicated in our office in gathering content, both written and visual. A visitor, when they're thinking about going somewhere, they're very guided by what they see, whether it's in our social media, in our travel brochures. So that's why I wanted to put some of that to kick us off. So who are we? We are technically the Cayuga County Convention and Visitors Bureau, better known as the Cayuga County Tourism Office. We are a huge team of three. Myself, Claire Dunlap, who is our marketing manager. She's also in charge of group sales, meetings and events, and she works a lot with the tourism partners and developing education and support material for all of our lodging, restaurants, breweries, vineyards, and stuff. And Jillian Sears, she is our administrative and project coordinator. She is the one you will most likely speak to on the phone if you give us a call. And she also helps in some of our regional partnerships like the Lake Ontario Sports Fishing Promotion Council and a couple other ones. What are we tasked to do? We are a 501c3, fully funded from the bed tax, the hotel occupancy tax in Cayuga County. And we are contracted with the Cayuga County Legislature to do the work of tourism promotion. Our mission is to, as a promotion agency, we increase tourism and related revenues through promotion, research-based targeted marketing. And we improve the visitor experience by providing data and training to local hospitality industry providers. We continuously work to increase tourism and improve the visitor experience, which in turn stimulates economic growth, sustain recreational and cultural opportunities in the county. So our vision kind of summarizes this in three ways. We enhance economic development, and that is our outreach to the visitor. We improve quality of life for its residents because we help increase the tax bases and therefore some tax leniency towards the residents of the county. And we ensure that what makes our way of life fun stays because it's partly funded and supported by the visitor. So it provides an unparalleled Finger Lakes visitor experience. But the fact that we are a marketing agency is the pivotal part because we don't host events. We basically, the way we describe it is we send the invitation. We don't throw the party. All right. And then 2020, right? We got hit with this huge curveball. The impact of tourism by 2020 by the pandemic was much greater than by 9/11. So the tourism industry was one of the hardest hit industries, and all of our partners had to take a very creative turn and figure out how to continue in business. There was a lot of curbside pickup. There was a lot of virtual programming that went into. So I kind of selected a couple of the different fun things that were going on and threw them together, splashed them together in this collage for you because, like I said, it's a very visual thing. When it comes down to numbers, this is data collected by the U.S. Travel Association and supported by the Oxford Economics, both agencies that focus almost strictly in tourism-related impact and things around the nation and the world. And these are some of the numbers that show the staggering impact, financial impact that the industry took in 2020. And these are various sectors of the tourism industry. The food services was one of the hardest hit, seconded by lodging, accommodation, and then air transportation, and so on the list. From here, I wanted to guide you to the occupancy tax, which is one of the pillars of describing how the tourism industry got hit. This is the national numbers. So this is nationally how we get hit starting in June with a 43% drop in occupancy. And ending the year at about a 33% cumulative drop. Now, how does it compare to Cayuga County? Cayuga County at the end of the year had an approximate 25% decrease, much better than the national average. So we are very proud and grateful for that. So what is the projection for the recovery, which is all what we want to see, right? This is also numbers by the U.S. Travel Association. So the impact in 2020, and this is total traveler spending, right? This is not just occupancy. It took about a 45% hit in the industry. And they're stipulating a recovery through 2023 that gets close to what 2019 numbers were. So the recovery is long and slow, but it will go up and up. So these are some of the things I wanted to talk about primarily, and I thought this would engage some conversation. What made our recovery faster and better than the national numbers? And these are some of the main things that we can pinpoint to. That our communication, both regionally and nationally, has been travel confidently. We have been very consistent about the fact that masks are required, that we do enforce social distancing. This creates a sense of confidence to the visitor saying, oh, I could go visit this area and I know they're taking care of things. So that constant communication is very important. We do have fresh air and open spaces. I mean, everything about our region and the Finger Lakes in general is open to everything that people want to travel to. And we have the benefit that we have major metropolitan centers nearby. Boston, Philadelphia, New York City, Jersey, all these places have a very high concentration, and they were looking for some place to go that was safer, cleaner, more open. So that helped us not get hit so hard. And we have many state parks, hiking, biking trails. The sales of bicycles, kayaks, and boats was astronomical in 2020. You couldn't find a bicycle. You couldn't find a kayak. Trust me, I was shopping for a kayak, wanted a kayak, couldn't find it anywhere for the longest time. Ended up buying one secondhand, which was great. But we have all the places where you can use these things. So the sales were going crazy and people are looking for a place where to go, right? And we also have a lot of home rentals and hotel chains that promoted, once again, the travel confidently messaging that they are taking care of you when you arrive there. So all these things helped create the messaging that we were a safe destination for people to come to. And how do we continue this momentum? How do we continue being a leader and continue offering a safe destination? As an office and as a tourism industry, we need to be aware that the pandemic-related impacts will continue. We will continue having to enforce masks for a long stretch of time. Even if the greater population does get vaccinated, it is important to continue with that safe messaging and enforce the safe messaging. Cater to a diverse population, to large urban markets that we have access to. We've already sparked the interest of these large areas. We have to continue that interest. And the large metropolitan areas have much larger diverse populations. So we need to be more welcoming, which is, I think, the messaging that I stepped in on when I joined the call. And it is important for more of our partners to acknowledge how being welcoming to a more diverse population is good for the bottom line, and it will continue improving our recovery. Being bold in our messaging, we have strengths in our area that even our neighboring partners in the Finger Lakes region don't. We have the story of Harriet Tubman and the equal rights movement that is very important, and the messaging for that is prime right now. People are looking for places where they can celebrate this and continue highlighting the outdoors with a focus on our wonderful scenic drives, access to the water. Once again, where can you put that boat in? Where can you put that kayak in that you spend money on? And where can you go ride your bike? And this is some of the, like I said, we are a marketing promotion agency #1, right? So we place a lot of print ads, we place a lot of digital ads, and I wanted to close my blah, blah, blah time with showing you some of the messaging that we put out there. So this was catered specifically for the camping industry. It goes out to campgrounds of New York. This will appear in the upcoming Auburn Visitors Guide, and it's encouraging. It's not only informing about the impact that the tourism has on our county, but also other historic sites that you can visit nearby. Our Sweet Tree Trail was a wonderful asset to have during 2020, and we anticipate that's going to be very big in 2021 as well. Once again, enforcing the safe, fun, yummy road trip kind of area. Our advertising does not show massive people because everybody's still very hesitant to be about big groups of people. So it shows the personal experience that you will have when you visit the Finger Lakes. Fishing is another big industry that we're very good, well positioned for. So we're doing a lot of messaging for fishing, not only in Great Lake, Ontario, but all the lakes and tributaries that we have in our county. And once again, the bold, strong messaging that we have for Harriet Tubman and the equal rights, this will also be highlighted throughout the year. I talk fast. I gave you a lot of stuff, but I'm looking forward to questions and some conversation on all this. Yes, Ed.
What, if anything, have you gotten from any guidance have you gotten from the governor's office regarding tourism, or what to expect, or how things may shake out for later this year?
We don't get any information before anybody else does. We're not privy to anything ahead of time, but things are opening up continuously. The governor is putting out more press releases about greater occupancy in restaurants and events. Bowling alleys have opened up. Live performances and the arts are able to open up, but also they're being very careful. We have the I Love New York logo that we have a license for, and we're able to use, but they will not approve an I Love New York logo on anything that has mass gathering promotion on it, anything that has a lot of people that you can tell are not from close families without masks. So they are being very careful about continuing the travel confidently messaging for people coming to New York.
Thank
Chad,
you.
yes?
There we go. I understand that the feds are considering making the Finger Lakes National Recreation Area, if I have the term right. What will that mean for us?
It's a national heritage area. It would need a lot. Yeah, it would mean a lot of support from the federal level in specific markets and specific areas. So cultural tourism, which is something that we have a lot of very good product for, we could reach out to at the federal level, but it's really a marketing position. People travel for this kind of product all over the place, and it would elevate the Finger Lakes region and all of our cultural product. It would authenticate it, and it would help get a lot more media press releases on it, and that would drive more visitation. And what is good is that it's a very profitable, well-positioned visitation. One of the things that we need to always be concerned with, and from my previous positions in tourism before coming in here, is not only the quantity of visitors that you're inviting, but the quality of visitors and the impact that they will have on the type of product that you offer. Being part of the National Heritage, sisterhood, for lack of a better word, it's a very good thing for the product that we have in Cayuga County. So on that note, Chad, thanks for bringing it up. It is important to send in comments. They have the open session right now to put in comments and thoughts on it. All the data's out there. If you don't have the link, I can look for it and send it over to Ed to distribute to everybody. So if you have time, really dig into all the content that's on there and provide any feedback and thoughts on it. This was attempted once previously, and it did not make it because there was not enough support. So we really need to ensure that people put in comments as much as possible. Mike?
Karen? Yes. The bit on your print advertising and online advertising, that's interesting. How do you figure out where you're going to advertise and how much you're going to spend on the campaigns? And then what are you seeing for results from that?
I love the very good pointed question, Mike. We are a very research-based organization. We do spend money on getting some good research. We have research called Tourism Sentiment Index. We also recently signed up a contract, which I have not been able to delve into the numbers yet, that tracks the cell phones that come into the area. This kind of data lets us know who is already coming and who's interested, and we look for opportunity based on that. If we see that there's a decent number out of Philadelphia coming and they're visiting X, Y, and Z kind of destinations, then we know what kind of messaging to send to what area. Normally we have been marketing to, like I said, the major metropolitan areas near us. Philadelphia has been a big one, Boston as well. New York City hasn't been huge on our list of where to market to because accessibility, and I used to be a New York City gal for a little bit, and I know that when you live there, you don't own a vehicle. It costs a lot more and it's a detriment. So for New York City residents, accessibility to Cayuga County is hard. So we have not spent as much money marketing there. So what we market to and where we market it is very much based on the data that we have available that gives us the best bang for our buck. But we also look for missed opportunities. Doesn't mean that it's not showing up in our numbers because maybe we've never tried it before. And that's where the Tourism Sentiment Index has been very valuable. It shows us what people are enjoying when they come here. Fishing is something that we always kind of promoted. It was kind of there, but the index showed that compared to our competitive set in the area, people really loved fishing here. So I was like, maybe we've missed the mark and we really should be promoting more of that and telling people that story a lot more. So that helped us pep up that content, and we'll be improving our website content on that as well. Yes, Eileen?
I was wondering if you ever partnered with Bass Pro to help bringing more awareness to like their clientele, because there is a Bass Pro locally and they do sponsor fishing tournaments. So
Yep.
do you ever partner with them and their marketing group to like use their network of marketing to market Cayuga County to their database?
Yep. Not exactly the way you say it, but makes me think, wow, I missed an opportunity with that one. We have incorporated them in some of the things we've done, and they have been part of our messaging, and we always promote them. But I have not reached out to their marketing team to do some co-advertising, which is definitely a way to go. We have done co-advertising with the Rev Theater previously, because that is another product that is very unique to Cayuga County within the Finger Lakes region. We have awesome live performances through them. So it's not outside the model of things that we've done, but we have not done with the Bass Pro Shop yet. But come next year, you ask me that question again, I bet you the answer will be yes.
I know from past experience, my husband used to work at Bass Pro, and I know in other areas of the country where we've lived, Bass Pro does partner with other organizations to co-promote.
Yep. We did talk about reaching out to them because of the Blue Way Trail. I don't know if you're aware of the Blue Way Trail. It's one that's just opening up. So we had talked about an alliance with that to promote the area, but it was put on hold because of COVID. We didn't want to do a big to-do about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tony.
Antonia, you're muted. I think you're trying to
You're
speak.
muted.
I can't hear you.
My question to you is, with the Doubledays changing from a major league affiliate to basically an independent league team, where visiting teams won't be staying overnight because it's a bus league. Do you have any guesstimate on what the impact is going to be, or maybe lost revenues for the county?
I don't have any hard numbers on that, Ed, but I think I think ultimately it will be a win-win. I'm actually meeting with Don later on today to talk about some of the partnerships that we can work on together. It would be a different structure. We don't know yet if it will have any decrease in occupancy because it might just lead to different opportunities. Since it is regional, it could lead into more regular visitation instead of a whole bunch of them at once for overnight. So it might be differently distributed and not really a loss of occupancy. That's our hope and goal anyway.
Thank you.
Antonio, you want to give it a try again?
Thank you. Good to, you hear me?
Yeah.
Good to see you, Karen. Just to continue a little bit about what Chad was talking about, the National Heritage Project, that I sent them a letter to their corporate office. I think it's out west somewhere, and spotlighting Theodore Case and his unique contribution to not only this area, but to the world in the areas of news and education and entertainment, of course. And, you know, in the letter, I just compared him to what was going on with the coronavirus, that over 40 years, medical researchers all around the world were collaborating. But Theodore Case created what came to be the tools that put sound on film and played it back so we have the illusion of being right in the movies. But my first question was, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My first question was, maybe this time is a time to prepare for the future. And I was wondering if you knew what the Bowers Corporation, who I believe still own the Shine Theater, if they have come to any conclusion about the purpose for that building. I also wrote them and suggested Auburn could be to movies what Cooperstown is to baseball, because it all happened here. And we could have a museum and just be the go-to place around the world for the celebration of movies and directors, producers, the whole gamut. So I was just wondering if you have heard from the Bauer Corporation. Thank you.
The simple answer, no. I have not heard.
Me neither. Me neither.
I know that there's still work and I know that it's still progressing, but no, I have not been in contact with them to understand exactly what the purpose and intentions are. To address your points on Theodore Case and the impact that Auburn had on the movie industry, yes, it is significant, and yes, it is content that can and should be elevated. I know that right before COVID hit, the Finger Lakes Film Trail was established. I don't think it has gained that much traction because everything was put on hold, but that is one of the mediums that we can elevate the voice. Part of the issue there is you need partners in order to get to build content. Take Harriet Tubman, for example. You can't have a bigger pillar representing freedom than Harriet Tubman. But it is not known nationally and internationally that the role that Auburn played in her life and how much impact she had here. So even that requires partnerships, right? Even when you have somebody as predominant as Harriet Tubman, which Theodore Case was very predominant in his industry as well. So it requires partnerships in order to elevate that message. So the Finger Lakes Film Trail is a great step forward. So we need to continue that path in order to continue elevating that message. And the Shine Theater would be a cool place where to have some of that content, but we really have to wait and see what their plans are. But putting in a little thought in there, those little seeds do germinate and grow into big oaks sometimes.
I dream of a tourist bus stopping in Auburn, and they're deciding, where should we go first? The Seward Museum, the Harriet Tubman Equal Rights Center, or the theater, the movie museum?
Yeah.
So maybe we could all collaborate. Thank you.
Eileen?
I'm sure you're aware of this, but Richard Gere is from North Syracuse and comes back to town quite frequently. And Alec Baldwin's sister lives in Camillus. And I was wondering, because they're so close to Auburn and because they're so big in the movie industry, maybe it would be behoove us to reach out to them and see if they would be willing to financially collaborate with us and such, to help expand the notoriety of Theater Case around the world and make this the film capital.
And that's the partnerships and the outreach that we're talking about. Yep. It's good to have big names associated with things, isn't it? And Gear, he's kind of cool.
Well, I know that I was involved with the Baldwin Foundation for raising money for breast cancer, and met Alec Baldwin and his brothers a couple of times because I was friends with their mom. And they did quite a number of huge fundraisers in New York City and in LA, and basically tapped all of their very wealthy friends to fund the Baldwin Foundation. So it's not impossible that they could do that. And also, Tommy Walsh was from Auburn. So he impacted a lot of people in New York City in the theater district and such. So not impossible to start tapping into some of that knowledge and connections too.
Mac?
Karen, this may come across as selfish, but one of the things that I've always been disappointed in is the lack of information that's put out there about the scuba industry, not Finger Lake Scuba, but the scuba industry. We have a club in this town that has been around since 1959. They're one of the oldest scuba clubs, some of the best freshwater diving in the world. I provide dive charters for people who come from within over 100-mile radius, who travel here to go scuba diving as a part of their stay. We promote fishing and we promote swimming, and I've actually seen snorkeling listed. Not that I would think a lot of people would snorkel, but it's a big industry. I'm one of this between Syracuse and me and Rochester. There's a lot of scuba facilities, and Lake Ontario is a big area for scuba diving.
Especially with the new maritime.
That's right.
I forget the word right now. Yeah, the sanctuary that they're building for it.
Yeah.
We have crafted different content out for scuba diving. We have not had as much of it hasn't touched the right trigger yet. So we're still trying to figure out how to incorporate it. We send out when we get PR leads. We send it out often through PR leads about other water activity, because it is a unique and different thing to promote. And having one of the partners based out of Cayuga County gets us a link in to be able to send out that messaging. But yeah, I'll give it to you. It is unique and it is not given enough attention. It's also a matter of, resources and following the data. But it's one of those things that I was mentioning. Sometimes it doesn't show in our data because it hasn't been positioned yet. Once it gets out there, maybe it would demonstrate that it is something that is a lot more people are interested in than the data is currently showing. So yeah, I will agree with you that it does not give as much attention as some of the other things. But we'll keep trying.
Yep.
Hey, Karen, you mentioned that you're funded largely by the room tax. Does Airbnb play into that and those types of services?
Yes. Actually, we are one of the counties where Airbnb does pay occupancy tax. And we also get occupancy tax from Finger Lakes Premier Properties, which is a prime home rental organization in the Finger Lakes region. So they do contribute, which was part of what helped us in 2020 because home rentals skyrocketed. There were like 150, 180% increase in some of the months in occupancy from the home rentals, where the hotels took a hard hit, and some hotel sectors took a much harder hit than others.
What was the balance like between them then? Is it making a significant portion of your funding then, or is it still just a small
It's
piece?
still a small thing. Yeah, it's still a small thing. Traditional hotels are still a big part of our funding. And we are 100% funded from the Cayuga County bed tax, supplemented by grants that we go after. The New York State matching grants being the most prominent one, which was didn't really comply with the original match for 2020 and has not come into play in 2021 yet. We're still hopeful for that. Mitch, you were going to ask something?
Yeah. You talked a little bit about all the data that you use to bring people from cities like Philadelphia and New York, even Boston, and I could listen to that data be interpreted all day. That stuff is really cool to me. But what's being done to get people who already live in the county to experience all of the tourism sites that we have? Is there any advertising to the local community?
The Cayuga County Tourism Office is tasked with bringing in export money, basically, which means we need to focus our efforts, bring people from 50 miles out in, which basically we want to get people, heads and beds, we want people from the outside to experience here. That is our primary function. That being said, 2020 was an anomaly to everything that we are tasked to do. So we refocused internally and we catered to the residents of Cayuga County. We did a lot of Pride in Place campaigns, like the hashtag Our Cayuga that we were working on, that we involved a lot of our tourism partners in. We were gearing towards showing the faces behind the places that make your home a special place where to live. So we did do a lot of outreach that way. The other way we tap into the local residents is through our Tourism Ambassador program. We have tourism ambassadors that are Cayuga County residents who help tell the story about their hometown. So they help provide us with content, with blogs, with ideas of things that where they like to spend their time.
Yeah.
The insider tips. So through them, and then they get their friends and relatives involved in that, so they take more part in the things that are going on. And we'll be in touch, Mitch, to look at some of that data if you want.
Karen, I got a quick question for you. Is there information, what percentage is local tourism as opposed to, out of state or out of the area tourism? You mentioned 50 miles.
Yep. With the new research that I just mentioned that we started doing that tracks cell phone data in the region, yes, then we can see who's coming. One of the issues with tourism and data, and one of the questions that everybody asks is how many people are coming, has never really been able to be answered before. And I'm fascinated when I looked at this platform and said, oh my gosh, I think I might actually be able to answer that question. And it does divide it between local visitors, which means within our own region, statewide. I think it's local, regional, state. No, it's local, state, national, and then international. And then within that, it can actually tell us where the people are coming internationally. And there's this really cool map that shows us the pinpoints where everybody's coming from. So yeah, I'm having fun.
Terrific. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for presenting today. I'm just wondering, so do you get 100% of the bed tax, or does that get split with other organizations as well?
We receive 90% of the bed tax. The county gets 5% admin, basically what they call, in order to process everything and deliver the tax.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
All right, any other questions for Karen? Do you have anything you wanted to say to sum up, Karen?
Yeah, I would love to hear as a Cayuga County stakeholder, when friends or relatives come to visit, where is the place that you send them to? Do we go round robin? Start with you, Mike. You're on my top left.
Yeah, well, not in Cayuga County. We go the Geneva Visitor Center that they just redid. That's close to us because we live in Seneca Falls. Then we might come over to Auburn or fishing in Cayuga Lake since that's so close to us. Yeah.
Cool. Antonia? Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
You're on mute,
You're
Tony.
muted.
Mea culpa. The Seward House, because it's open quite frequently, the Cayuga Museum, walking the piers at the lake, merry-go-round theater. Those are the first 4 that came to my head.
Beautiful.
Lots of things to do here.
Yeah. And Michelle, I know you got some good ones for us.
Yeah, honestly, Seward House is always the first place I tell everybody to go to. Plug for you, Mitch.
Mhm.
But and obviously Prison City, because that's near and dear to my heart. I eat there quite often because it's right across the street.
Seward House is I think, a national treasure. I've been to museums, other places. I don't think there's any place in the United States like the Seward House. I just marvel at, yeah, it's like stepping into the past, literally. And the Tubman, of course. Those are my 2 favorites.
Top 2. I like it.
I have a lot of friends that come in from out of town, not 2020, but before that, and Harriet Tubman, Seward as well, merry-go-round, but also Fillmore Glen and Fort Hill Cemetery. I've taken my friends on a couple of tours of Fort Hill Cemetery, and they were like, holy Moses. And there's also an awesome cemetery right on North Street, the North Street Cemetery. And I've done a lot of headstone tracings with friends and told them about the people that are actually buried there and their history and such, because I think that it helps people like, oh, wow, this really has a vibrant history. Yep, it does. And it's when they come back, they're like, okay, what else can we do?
Yeah.
So it helps spark interest.
Bruce Drake, you're up next on my list.
So I've only been in the area for 7 months, but every time we've gone someplace, it always involves wine.
Absolutely.
So we've had some different people visit, and it's always we hit the wine tour, bacon and a lake and stuff like that. So I'm not real sure where that falls in Cayuga and the neighboring counties yet, but it always involves wine.
Well, always involves wine. Thanks. I want to make sure wine industry didn't get forgotten. Thank you. Chad, do you have one for us? Nope. How about you, Gary?
Well, I don't have a lot of people visiting from out of town. It's usually family or kids coming back. And usually we spend our time at a restaurant. We like to go out and dine. And actually something happened today. I hope that doesn't draw dining dollars away from Cayuga County. Onondaga County instituted a program today for restaurants in Onondaga County. If you buy a gift certificate up to $100, the county will match that $100 to the restaurant. And that may be drawing people away from Cayuga County and Onondaga County to dine.
Very interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that, Gary. Thank you. Paul, do you have one for us?
Well, I tend to think of some of the extremes. Fairhaven is sort of a hidden away because where it is, it's the farthest north, but it's a nice unspoiled area for people that like that type of setting. It's a beautiful spot, and I think while there aren't a lot of commercial opportunities there, people do enjoy it. I've never had anybody go there and say, it's terrible.
And that gives you an opportunity to plug the Sterling Nature Center and the huge investment that's going to go on there with their new nature center. That's going to be fabulous, and it will draw a lot of eyes to the area. And Bruce, a hint for wineries: go check out Cayuga Estate Winery way up in Fairhaven. It's a gem.
Okay. The bad part is I don't even drink wine. I end up being the driver.
You're providing a very important service.
Right.
Amber?
Hunting and fishing are huge in my family, and camping. We got a trip planned every month of the summer, and we usually hit the wineries while we're there.
Excellent. And 2020 was a huge year for camping. You couldn't find a campground, and they're saying 2021 is predicted to be just as strong. So very smart that you have all your reservations done. Mac?
Usually Seward, the ones that you already heard, Seward House is a big one for me. Tubman. I also spend a lot of time on the water Utilizing boating and scuba diving, obviously. The idea of the cemetery, especially Fort Hill, I think is just, that's just a gem of a place to take people. You want to see history, but the Cayuga Museum, most specifically the K side of it, I just think people are just blown away when you take them and show them what little there is, how much it impacted the world in general. Is just an amazing thing. And ironically, the other thing is, one of the things that I used to do a lot of was bring people into the prison for tours, so they could actually see what, when we used to have a program called Group Study Exchange in Rotary. And most of these were young professionals who came from other parts of the world. And when they would come here, they would see this prison in the middle of the community, and we would set up opportunities for them to go in and see what the prison was all about. And it was always a big hit. We always got very, very positive responses from people who got a chance to see that aspect of the community and how the community and the prison have been able to coexist.
There is a lot of history there.
Yeah.
How about you, Karen?
Well, all the places mentioned, I would certainly be on my list depending who was visiting. Bad visitors, I'm sure I've left a couple in Fort Hill. But one of the areas that I particularly like that we haven't mentioned yet, and that's the village of Aurora. That's near and dear to my heart. It's it's up the road from my summer cottage. I can have wine, I can shop, walk, and soon to get a massage. So lots to do in the southern end of the county as well.
Soon to get a massage. That's going to be a good one.
I can't wait.
Rich, I don't think we've touched on you yet.
Karen, you stole my thunder. Because Wells is the only four-year private school in the county, and so I have friends that come visit me here. We don't get a lot of visitors, but when family comes, they like to go to Prison City. But when we have a summer house up in the North Country, so we don't spend much of our time down here, unfortunately. So.
And I'm hopeful to be able to work with an intern from Wells College in the near future.
Cool.
Yeah.
They're very good, hardworking students.
Awesome. I don't know if Deb or Jim are on.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim. Yes. Karen, probably in the past for me, the number one, of course, has been Seward House, and secondarily to the Tubman home as well. Those are the two primary that I would come to.
Mitch, you're on here. People can't not say Seward.
It seems like they got my checks, so they're doing a great job.
Sorry, Mitch, but I need brownie points.
Deb, I think you're the last one I see on here. Oh, hi.
You can actually see me. You know,
Yes.
you do. I really don't have anything to add. I mean, all the same places everyone else has mentioned.
Yeah, well, we do have a spectacular county with a lot to offer, and I think you've hit a lot of the ones that we promote. So it's always nice to hear which ones the residents themselves feel like are top on the list. So I thank you for that.
Oh. Don't forget
Well, this
Sharon.
is Karen.
Karen.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
first I want to just tag on with what Henry said. I got to take 5 gentlemen from New Zealand through the prison. It was an eye-opener for them, let me tell you. And I don't think that's going to happen again. Our club president at the time, Mr. Henderson, was the superintendent. But the only one, I don't know if anybody mentioned one of the places that my brother and his wife just were fascinated with was Willard Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
They could not believe it was the only complete Tiffany, William Comfort Tiffany left in the world with everything intact. And they were very impressed with that. So
Mhm.
that and Harriet Tubman area, and that was way before she became a real national personality. You know.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That closes me off, Ed. You have anything else for me?
No, thank you. Thank you for being our guest speaker today.
Very, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you,
for your
Karen.
invitation.
Karen.
All right, I guess I'll close off, finish off your meeting. Thank you. Maybe next time we'll actually be able to enjoy lunch together again.